The pancreas. Brian Inyart, Bio 153. The anatomy and physiology of the pancreas. The pancreas is a mixed gland composed of both endocrine and exocrine glands. The pancreas contains pancreatic islets, which are tiny cell clusters that produce pancreatic hormones. Alpha cells release glucagon and are fewer in number. Beta cells release insulin and are more numerous. With the help of the pancreatic islets, which act as tiny fuel sensors, the pancreas secretes glucagon and insulin during fasting and fed states. The glucagon and insulin that the pancreas secretes helps regulate the blood glucose levels in our blood. Glucagon. Glucagon is an extremely potent hyperglycemic agent in which one molecule can cause the release of 100 million glucose molecules into the bloodstream. Glucagon primarily targets the liver by the following actions. It breaks down glycogen and glucose, synthesis of glucose and lactic acid and from the non-carbohydrate molecules, release of glucose to the blood by liver cells, causing blood glucose levels to rise. The secondary effect of glucagon is to lower the blood levels of amino acids as the liver sequesters the molecules in order to make new glucose molecules. Insulin. Insulin is a small protein consisting of two amino acid chains linked by disulfide bonds and is part of a larger chain called proinsulin. The effect of insulin is more pronounced once we have just eaten because the main effect of insulin is to lower the blood glucose levels. It also promotes synthesis and fat storage. Insulin lowers blood glucose levels in the following three ways. It enhances membrane transport of the glucose into most of the body cells, more so in the muscle and fat cells. Insulin inhibits the breakdown of glycogen and to glucose. Insulin also inhibits the conversion of amino acids or fats to glucose, which counter metabolic activity that would end up resulting in the increase of the plasma levels of the glucose. Factors that influence the release of insulin are elevated blood glucose levels, rising blood levels of amino and fatty acids, acetylcholine released, and hyperglycemic hormones. Pancreatic issues. One of the big problems that occurs with the pancreas is diabetes. There are two types. Type 1 diabetes, which is also called juvenile diabetes, because in most cases, a person who is diagnosed with type 1 diabetes is a juvenile, or under 15 years old. This is where the pancreas stops producing insulin altogether into the body. Type 2 diabetes, on the other hand, produces too much insulin into the body due to poor diet, usually, and ends up unable to keep up with the production, resulting in type 2 diabetes. One way to remember the difference is type 1. Most people get it at a young age, under 15 years old, and type 2 is usually a result in poor diet and nutrition. Medical solutions to diabetes, a pancreatic disease. Diabetes. In the year 1921, the discovery of insulin was an event that changed diabetes from a death sentence to a survivable disease. To go along with insulin, there are different machines, trackers, mechanisms, or what have you, that aid in the treatment and maintenance of diabetes. For example, glucometers, which test the blood glucose levels. There is an automatic glucometer that checks your blood glucose levels periodically for you and updates you on a device such as your cell phone if your levels are too high or too low. Insulin pumps, which automatically pump insulin to the body and acts as a pancreas does, for someone who is diagnosed with type 1 who doesn't have a working pancreas, and it helps so they don't have to struggle with insulin injections with needles. Biblical discussion. When it comes to medical issues such as diabetes and technology, science and discovery of different ways to control or help someone survive this condition, I personally have to give it all to the glory of God. Back in 1912, God blessed the scientists or whoever may have been a part of that discovery with the knowledge to discover the insulin, and it just keeps getting better from there. Proverbs 2:6 reads, "For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding." With that being said, the Lord gave the wisdom to the scientists, doctors, and whoever else in the past, present, and future, Christian, non-Christian, gave them the ability to discover new and innovative ways to help control both type 1 and type 2 diabetes. From being around people who have type 1 and type 2 diabetes on a daily basis, I have personally seen how, in the last few years, a change in technology, for the better, when it comes to diabetes, and again, glory be to God. Without his wisdom and guidance, we would not be where we are today when it comes to all the medical problems that are going on. Thank you very much.